Hi, Kensington Valley. I wanted to start a video series. So these are questions that you pose to me directly on the Facebook page that I wanted to start answering. So today we're going to start with hydration. I believe the next video is going to be on protein intake, and then I will fill them out from there. So today's question was, hey, what can I count towards my hydration and how much should I be getting in per day? There's a whole lot of conversation around that. We could get very specific or we could stay very generic. So I'm going to choose to give you the very generic version, and then I'll dive a little bit deeper into that, but keep it quick. As a general rule for hydration, your best method of figuring out how much you should drink every day is to take half your body weight and drink that in ounces. So for example, I weigh 180 pounds. I should be aiming to drink 90 ounces per day of liquid. Now, the question was posed, what can count towards that liquid? I would say that as a safe bet, very generic, anything that is caffeinated, you should not include in that hydration total. Caffeine does have a diuretic effect to it, which means removes the water. However, having a sip of coffee or a sip of tea isn't going to change that. What we're talking about is several cups per day. Drinking multiple Coke, Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, whatever the case is, throughout the day, those would have a diuretic effect to it. So I would not worry too much about just a little bit. But when you get into having like 16 ounces, 20 ounces, 24 ounces, that's where I would say those don't count towards your goal. Now, can you find studies that disprove that? You can, up to a certain point. Seems to be, if we're going a little more specific, that 200 to 300 milligram of caffeine per day tends to be where the diuretic effect takes or starts to come into account. But as a general rule, again, if we're going to keep this super simple, drink half your body weight in beverages per day and do not count any caffeinated beverages into that total. So if you do some research, some of the most hydrating drinks, actually milk, believe it or not, has a good hydration property to it. You also have obviously coconut water, electrolyte drinks. Do you need any of that? No. What I would say, if you're going to list out the things that would be contributing to your hydration the most, obviously water is going to be your number one. Flavored water, sparkling water. You could go herbal tea. Sorry, I almost said caffeine free. Herbal tea, Gatorade, Powerade, kind of is a mix in there. Is it hydrating? Yes. Should you have that as a regular drink in your daily consumption? Probably not. And then from there, I would say the other general rule is for every hour of exercise that you do per day, regardless of a winter or summer, you need to add 16 ounces onto that. If you're on the sweat a little bit more, you'd probably want to think more like 20 ounces or 24 ounces. But again, if we're going to keep it super simple and generic, 16 ounces for every hour of exercise that you do. And it probably goes for working outside for an hour, etc. So general rules on hydration. Here are very, very basic. Let's keep it simple. Number one, drink half of your body weight in liquids per day. The things that don't count towards that hydration would be anything that's caffeinated. Again, you can find plenty of information that says up to a certain point, but let's just keep it simple. So anything caffeinated would not contribute to that total overall goal in ounces. And then for every additional hour outside working or working out, you want to add 16 ounces to your total for the day. So I think that is, generally speaking, where I would put us for hydration. Remember, there are some key factors that indicate that we are approaching the dehydration mark. Number one, we could have headaches, dry mouths, things like that. Those are usually good indicators that you have hydration issues. From there, I would also look towards your urine color. So I'll include a little snippet of examples. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But it could be a pretty good indicator of some things that are going on. So make sure that light color, yellow is our optimal color. Again, not perfect, but it is something that quickly can identify whether we are hydrated or dehydrated. If you have any other questions as it relates to hydration, don't hesitate to let me know. Comment below the video and I'll be happy to address those. Again, my goal is to give you the most simple information in the shortest amount of time. Again, if you really want to dive into it, we can include as much as you'd like deep into the science portion of it. That's it for today. Next up, protein intake.